All right, welcome to Coffee with the Kays. I'm Josh Kaye. This is Kyle Kaye. This is Ron Kaye. We are the Kays, and we have coffee.
Yes.
We do.
Yeah,
all right.
Coffee.
There we go.
Second cup.
Very
Sorry.
Good. Drink.
Oh, I always forget that.
How many years
This is gonna be the
have we been
I
telling
don't
her
know
when
why.
you see
I
a
just-
toast to somebody, you have to
Every
drink
single
after the toast.
time.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Folks,
guess
have you ever known somebody that toasts and then put the glass down?
I think
It's
it was
like, what's the
my
purpose of the
upbringing. I don't
toast?
know.
You know?
It's
I think when I
It's
was
just.
a kid,
I
we
think
would do it.
what
and
we
I would
need to
just
do
go,
You
is
did too many pretend ones.
see.
That's
Right.
That's
That's what it is.
it.
Our loyal listeners need to go back and let us know how many episodes, because we always do. We always
Clink.
clink.
I know.
Oh no!
And
don't,
then-
don't
and then you
clink.
sat it
No,
down.
And then I end up going,
clinking.
drink, Mom, drink.
Yeah.
She's, oh, I always forget that.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Every
I
time.
need more coffee. I have brain damage.
Well, I have Kona
You have
coffee
Kona,
from
yes.
Hawaii,
Yes.
which is really good.
And we have a student in Hawaii now.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jackson.
Hey,
Am I allowed to
Jackson,
say
give
that?
me some Kona, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
yeah, that's what we
Awesome.
need. He was asking me one of his lessons, like something from Hawaii. What would you like? And I told him about the
Coffee.
I told him the coffee. I said,
Yeah.
"There's
Are you
two things
kidding
about
me?
Hawaii to me. It's the Kona coffee." And then it's the ukuleles that are made out
Oh,
of the
yes.
koa,
Yeah, Kona
the koa
wood.
Koa
wood.
wood,
Yeah,
yes,
and
very
that's what I
good.
told him is like a traditional ukulele out of koa wood would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
And
And
then he
very
looked
hard
up the
to
price.
find.
He was like, "Yeah, that's not going to happen."
Yeah.
Yes,
They're like $300, man.
That's it. Oh, even
Yeah.
more. They have
More.
some like
Yeah,
he
it's
found one that
ridiculous.
was like over $1,000.
I was
going to
say 1,500 because it's rare.
crazy.
Yeah, they're
It's
beautiful,
so rare.
though.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And they
yeah.
sound
and they
really
sound
good.
awesome. And
Yeah.
they sound better as. Oh, I'm getting ahead though. This is the coffee portion.
Yes.
Oh, coffee, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Stick to the
I'm sorry.
script.
We're not talking music right
No,
now.
no,
That's it. No, but Kona coffee from Hawaii is very
Yes,
good.
good stuff.
Very good. Yeah.
I have what do I have?
It's from Uganda.
It really is very smooth, very
Yeah.
yummy.
Yes.
I
This is new from the Nespresso Single Origins line. They have, and it's only available for a limited time. So
will get more. It's
yeah.
yummy.
Well, and this is one of the things you can tell with some of these single source is that like you know it's legit in my mind when it's only available for a limited time because it's only in season. It makes sense, right?
Right.
It's only in
Yes.
season for a certain amount of time. So
Like organic blueberries.
yeah, there's certain things that like they're just when they're always in season, you start to go, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
And,
No, it's very good.
Yeah,
And
so-
what are you having?
Costa Rican. Yeah,
And
it's the same thing.
It's
just
a
Costa
light,
Rican.
right?
Yeah.
It's a light roast.
I like the Ugandan better, but
Really?
I
It looks
had
pretty
one-
dark.
It is.
It is.
Well, it's very
It's pretty
smooth though. There's no aftertaste. It's
Yeah.
not bitter at all. I have a problem when I make my the pour overs. They do get bitter. I think it's
They do.
because they do.
Any
And
pour over.
I
has
think
a
I
tendency
just
to
let
be
it.
bitter.
I do it too
Well, you let-
fast.
my-
and I let it drip
well,
all the
so
way
there's a
through.
couple of things I think you do wrong in that regard. Yes, I think it goes by too quick. The other thing is,
Well, that could be.
yeah, if you want it to go faster, you got to grind it so that it's not as fine ground. Which
Well, I've actually
you don't
stopped. I'm
But
buying
it's
it. ground.
usually like I got a lesson in 10 minutes.
That's what
right,
happens.
right, yeah.
And
Yes.
a cup of coffee.
And that's where a pour over is not good for that.
No.
You know. But then the other thing
It's to be
is
savored and
That's-
enjoyed.
it is.
Yes,
And
but I love
there's
it.
there's a whole aesthetic to it because when you're pouring it and you watch it bloom and you get in the aroma and you sit there and
No, I
it's
do like
that's
that.
all part of the
That's why it takes you
process.
so long to give me a cup of coffee.
That's right. There we go.
Where's Josh? It's been a half hour, man. Where's
I
my
know.
coffee?
Yeah, it's all part of the process.
Well, I met
you know?
someone that said they were really into coffee, and I was like, "Oh yeah, me too," and my son too. And then I went off about the siphon and the pour over and the.
And they're sitting there
And
going,
they were
I don't
like-
Blew their mind.
That's
right?
it. They're like,
He
I
was
don't know.
like,
I drink
well,
a lot of
I have a
Folgers.
pod, you know.
This is not your typical coffee drinker here.
No, it really was funny
Coffee
because
animal.
yeah.
So, people don't know what they're doing when they crack the seal on that one.
That
right?
was, that was like a little.
Oh,
too
I
much.
like coffee too. Really?
I know. That's it. I know. Well, that's it.
Oh,
It's kind of
man.
like when they say they like Marvel.
Yeah,
Just you can't.
That's it.
That'll be another podcast.
Another podcast.
Sorry for another.
All right, I'm gonna
Century.
plug in my laptop because we're about to lose power. But keep talking.
Oh, keep talking.
All
Keep
right,
it going.
so
The Browns won.
you
I'm sorry.
stole that.
you just
Oh my
stabbed
gosh.
me. Oh my God! You stole my thunder, girl.
Okay, sorry. Go back. Rewind.
Yeah, we're not editing any of this.
Okay.
I was gonna say, let's talk about the Browns now.
Okay,
And
let's.
You jumped in there and told us that they won, which they did.
They are. They're 1-1 now.
They beat the Texans.
So we are videoing this. And
That's kind of like you put your shoes on in the morning.
Yeah, well.
No,
It shouldn't have been that big of a deal.
They weren't that. The Texans were. They.
No, that was the
fight.
problem. Was that the Browns were
Yeah.
so lame that the Texans made a game out of it and almost beat them.
I know, but they had some good. They have some good players that used to be Browns.
Almost
Yeah, I know.
half the
That's
team.
That's the thing.
Half the team.
That's the thing that kills me. Yeah,
Yeah.
they did. They had at least 6, 7. It was somewhere around there. It was like 8 players at least.
We're hearing
Right,
these names
yeah.
and they're going,
Hey,
that's a
Hey.
former Brown,
Yeah,
man.
that's it.
I know.
And the
There's
quarterback.
another one.
Yeah.
It was
Tyrod Taylor,
Yeah.
former Brown,
Yeah.
Poor
the
Tyrod.
one before Baker. So
Yes.
Right.
Baker took his job,
Yeah.
so he had like a little revenge thing going,
But the
motivating
Houston's
him.
had a lot of injuries.
Houston Texans.
Yes.
Yes.
Lots and
But
lots
Tyrod-
of Houstons. I'm sorry.
Tyrod really did grow
Yes,
from
he
when
did.
he was
Yeah, he
in
was
Cleveland.
good. He
I'll
matured.
say that
He
much.
definitely
Man, he
matured.
looked so
Yeah.
much better.
He looked good.
Yeah.
He had those bright moments when he was a Brown where you could see like,
He has
okay, we
potential.
can deal with this
Yes,
guy,
yes.
but then he would totally screw it up.
He
He's
didn't
worried
do
about
good.
his
He would
interception.
like
Oh,
panic. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He's worried about his interception
Put the
record.
coffee, put the coffee
Yeah, put the
down.
coffee down. Step away from the coffee.
Sorry.
So he would be afraid about ruining his interception record,
Right.
and so he wouldn't throw the ball, and then he'd end up getting sacked, and it was like that was his whole
He was
motivation.
throwing it away. I mean, how many times you'd watch him go 1, 2, 3, no yards,
Yep, no play. Yeah.
and now they're punting. And it was just, I remember the game that he went out. That was one of those things where we were beside ourselves because we were watching it and just like, oh man, he just keeps throwing it away
Yeah.
or down in it, and there's nothing. And then he got injured, and Baker went in there and then just lit the whole thing
Right.
up,
Yeah.
and now everybody was like, oh man,
Well, Baker does
yeah.
well under pressure, and I think Tyrod does not do well under pressure.
No, he did good today under pressure.
Today he
Yeah.
did
Awesome.
good. Yeah,
Because I
yeah.
think
I mean,
he's
he had.
matured.
What
Yeah.
I'm saying is this guy showed a lot of improvement
Oh,
from when he
absolutely.
was
Yeah.
a Cleveland Brown to where he is
Definitely.
now.
Definitely.
And it's all to his credit. That's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
awesome,
It
man.
is.
you
I
know?
I hope, for his sake, I hope that this injury is not very serious.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to hate First Energy Stadium because it's,
I
it's
know.
like every time he gets
And he just
injured.
seems like a nice guy.
He does.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, hopefully, because he kind of got his shot here, and he seems to be doing well with it.
Yeah, so we're going to be
now.
rooting for
Yeah.
the Texans
Yeah,
when they're
we're
not playing the
yeah.
Browns. I
We're
mean,
not going to
that'll
be
be
against the Texans.
No.
Yeah, right. So
But
yeah,
it was a close game, and
Well-
the Browns almost lost it.
but
Because
they won by 10, right?
yeah,
Yes, they
but,
did.
Okay, that beside the fact.
a close game. It was I'm sorry.
Here's the thing with the Browns is they could do really well, and then they fall into this mindset like some evil wizard casts a spell on them, and they all get stupid. Baker gets this like deer in the headlights look, and he doesn't know what he's doing anymore.
It's
and he
the
starts
Space Jam
panicking.
thing, right? Where the aliens steal their
That's
power.
what it is,
that's-
and then you just have all these memories of Browns teams
geez.
past coming
Yes.
into your head, like they're doing it again,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
But it was
They
great.
go in at last week before this
Wow.
one.
Oh yeah.
They go in at halftime. They're kicking butt,
Yeah,
man.
22
Come
to
out
10.
after halftime. They're not even in the game. Mentally,
Yeah.
they checked out and went home, and nobody. They forgot to tell somebody because they were like, getting their butts wiped on the floor because
Yeah.
they were just not thinking about what they were there for.
Well,
And
they pulled it out and they won by 10. So
Not
they
last
hung in
week.
it. No,
No,
but
he's
this
talking
week
about
they,
last
they
you
did
look at
good.
Merry Sunshine.
Yeah,
I always
yeah,
got
I
to
know,
pump
I know.
that sunshine.
I think that if everything goes the way the trajectory is, based on what happened last year, what we look at happening this year, I think we're on the way to improvement. I feel like they played better today than they played
Last week.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were in the game a little bit
Yeah,
more.
and so and I think the Mayfield interception, but that wasn't even really his fault. His runner stopped running.
Yes,
he
his
threw it in
runner
front
stopped.
of him, which is
Yeah.
what you're supposed to do,
Right, and he
just stopped.
Yeah.
So that wasn't really even
What's
his
your
fault.
excuse for Denzel Ward? picking his nose.
Well, yeah, that was upsetting because he looked like he
He's
just got
better
beat.
than
He got burned inside. He
Yeah.
got burned outside.
He
was-
Then he get burned inside.
Right.
Then he get burned outside.
Well, and
on it went.
he wants that big contract, and I'm like,
He ain't gonna get it
dude,
that way.
Well, if he has more games like that, that's not good. And
That
you
was
know,
a bit of-
I have to,
I had a lot of respect for him.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
really
yeah,
liked him.
yeah.
I thought when he was hurt, I was bad. Really
Oh, right.
hurt
I know.
because I wanted him to come back.
Yeah.
And,
Absolutely.
and he's back and he's playing like this. Oh, come
Yeah.
on, man.
Well,
No.
and then like Felton, he
that
really,
dude.
He
Yeah.
did really well. He
He's
did
got
bad
heart.
at the
Yeah.
beginning, but he hung in there and he made up
Yeah.
for it.
So
And,
this
you
is
know,
a rookie running back, Felton Jr.
Yeah.
Just signed him this year, and he really. They didn't really expect, much out of him. They thought maybe practice squad. It's his first year. He's fairly down.
He did a
in
lot
the
He's got
draft.
heart.
He
Oh
did
yeah.
a lot today.
Oh yeah.
A lot,
I mean, he really does, and I think he showed himself. He could be very valuable. Wow, I mean,
Taki
he made
did a
the
lot today.
53-man roster. So I mean, yeah.
Well,
Oh yeah, Taki did good today.
Yes.
When you watch
So-
that Felton, he made a mistake. He fumbled that kick return.
Yeah.
And then after that, everything was on
See,
point.
that was
And
it.
he was
shook
he
it
was
off.
roaring
Shook it
back.
off.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
and see, that's
important.
the kind of stuff you need more like that in
Yeah.
Cleveland
Yes.
because it's too easy.
It's
as
that
much
mindset.
that's what it is. As much as they talk about how they changed the coaching staff and they're getting rid of that mindset and stuff like that, you see it start to
And the
creep
ghosts
in.
are still there.
That's it. It starts to creep in. They start to lose, and then everybody just gets
Yeah.
defeated.
Well,
and,
when Landry got hurt today,
yeah, a perfect example.
boom,
The team fell apart.
everybody fell apart.
That
And
was
then
it.
Mayfield got hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, it just fell
Yeah.
apart, and so
Sad.
it was
I'm
good they
wearing
came
my,
back.
my
but-
Landry shirt today.
Yeah, I
but,
hope Landry,
I hope he's okay.
recovers
Yeah.
really well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
want him to
That's
be
a,
all
that's
right.
a stand-up guy. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I really think quite
Well, and I
highly of
mean,
him.
see how much the team respects him based
Yes.
on the fact that they fell apart, they got rattled.
But
I
they
mean,
brought
shows.
it back.
But
they
did.
Hooper
They won the game.
stepped up.
I'm going to
Hooper
tell you.
stepped
Oh
up.
my gosh. Buy stock
Austin
in
Hooper.
Hooper.
Yes.
This guy is
Well,
hot,
yeah,
man.
he is. And Higgins stepped
That's
it
it.
up. Hollywood.
Higgins, I love Higgins.
Hollywood
Yeah,
Higgins.
He's just
There you go.
cool.
He's in a clutch place, and then he
Yes.
Oh,
does
yeah.
that little Hollywood
Yeah,
move.
that's
at the
it,
end. I
that's
love
it.
it.
Yeah, it is. It's
Great
fun.
entertainment.
It's cool.
But
He's
it's nice.
good. He's good. So
Very
yeah,
good.
so we're playing the Bears next week, and that'll be fun. We're doing it in First Energy Stadium, which maybe won't be called First Energy
No,
Stadium due to the
Yes.
the wonderful politicians in
Yes.
Northeastern Ohio.
The corrupt
Yes.
politicians
Yes,
in Northeast Ohio.
But it was funny because
If you don't know what we're talking about, Google it.
Yeah, there was a guy. They showed a guy in the stands that had a T-shirt that said the Cardiac Kids,
Yeah.
and that's what we always referred to them as. Of
Well,
course, back
ever
in the
since
Bernie Kosar day, way back
25
then.
years ago.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Was that
30 years
Kozar?
ago.
Was that the cardiac
Yes.
kid face?
Oh,
Well, him
without- and
it was
before him.
Kozar and that other guy, Brian. What was his name? Brian Sipe.
There you go.
Okay.
I think it started with Brian Sipe.
Yeah. That was it, and they did. It was always right down to the last minute, and they
Yeah.
would kill us. And they'd do like that, Hail Mary pass, and they'd make it, and we'd get a touchdown, and we'd win
Yeah.
the game, and it
Yeah.
was
They did.
crazy.
Now I remember when the Panthers made a playoff run to the Super Bowl one year, and they pulled it out at the last minute in the championship, and they called them the Cardiac Cats.
Oh,
And everybody was so
That's
mad.
funny.
That was it.
That's funny.
That was it. Everybody was so
There
mad.
you go.
Stealing
Well,
our
well, that
stuff.
was it.
Yeah.
Ron said
Oh,
at the
man.
beginning of this game, why can't they just win?
win.
Why do they have to put
There's
us
so
through
much
this
drama.
all the time?
I would live
Always
to
so
see
much
the
drama.
day that they get out there and wipe the floor with some team.
It's always drama.
It just never happens.
I know.
It does. I mean, it could be a high school team.
Yeah.
It would be
Yeah.
down to the wire.
Yeah.
It would be the
Well,
last
this really
minute.
what
wasn't
they
down
know.
to the wire. They did pretty good.
But it's just
It
those.
was
But
down
it's,
to the
it's
wire.
those moments,
It's
though.
the moments
it's
that
the like.
you're not
Here they
sure.
are. They're down by down by a touchdown. They're marching
Yeah,
down the
yeah.
field, and nothing's happening. And then finally, there's a big pass and a big catch, and you're like, "Yay! Here we go. We're finally getting moving." And then he fumbles the ball.
I know, right?
And you sit there and go, and has Donovan Peoples-Jones ever done that ever?
No, he hasn't.
No, he hasn't. So
Yeah,
here's
he's
the
very-
first time ever
Yeah.
he
I know.
fumbles the ball. Like,
And he's
And
a
this-
top
he's a
notch
and he's a
player.
stand-up
top-notch
guy,
player,
yeah.
but that's the kind of stuff. When you're a Cleveland Browns fan,
Yeah.
you got to,
Yeah.
take a
It's
Valium.
the Cleveland.
Definitely don't drink coffee till after the game.
Oh, for
that's
real.
it.
That's it.
We will not let her
Definitely.
drink coffee before the game.
No,
That's it.
no coffee
It's
before
so
the game.
funny.
But here's a good segue. Just like Felton, shook it off and moved on.
Yes.
You've got to do that in music as well.
Well, you do.
You do. You have to. You can't because time passes. You got to let it go.
Segueing into something that's not on the schedule. It's not planned. So let me redirect your segue.
Okay, let's erase that segue. Yeah, I see your segue, and he's going to raise you now.
That's it. I want to ask you,
me
personally.
Okay.
What is it that made you love teaching music? Now, think about your whole career, all right, from learning how to play to where you are now. What is it that gets you motivated and helps you to love teaching people how to play music?
Well, that's kind of a multi-part question. I think.
We got time.
We really do. Yeah. Do we have time? Well, okay. So for me, I really always knew I wanted to be a teacher.
Really? Well, your parents told you were going to be a teacher. Well,
they did. But even before that, I mean, I would play teacher. I'd set up my Barbie dolls and stuffed animals, and I'd be a teacher.
Could they sing?
I would play. No, I mean, I would sing, you know, but it was, I always wanted to be a teacher. And I think I've always said this, and I think you agree with me. I feel like teachers are born and not made.
Yes, that's
you can learn how to teach,
thing.
Yes, and you can take all these courses, and you can have people train you.
And you could play like the wind on an instrument, but that doesn't make you a good teacher.
Mm-hmm. No, it doesn't.
And a lot of people can really play well, they don't want to tell you how they got to be like that.
And some people have trouble.
Because then you'd be like them, and they wouldn't be special anymore. So, you know.
But as I've always said that I would stop teaching when I felt like I didn't want to get up in the morning and do it anymore. And I really do love what I do. And I think the thing is, it's seeing that light bulb go off. It's that light bulb moment that you see in students where they get it. And they ask a question that you understand that, oh my gosh, they are getting this.
Well, see, here's the thing for me is that you have this very special thing in your life, playing music.
Yes.
And you know how much that enhances your life and makes your life so much better and provides peace and joy and enjoyment.
Stress relief.
Stress relief. And you get to share that with somebody. And not only do they, you know, are able to duplicate some of the things you're teaching them, but it goes off here in their mind. And they finally understand it. And then it's like, there's that feeling of, yes, it's like sticking your finger in a light socket, man. You know, you got it. Right. That's it. You know, that's the thing that's the payday moment for a teacher, if you ask me.
Yeah.
When, a music teacher. When you can convey that passion and love for music and somebody actually gets it. Yeah. And when you see these students start getting it and then like just growing and motoring along to take what you showed them and just, you know, incorporate it into what they're doing and dominate, you know.
Well, and it's at every level, because I've got some beginning piano students, young kids, 6, 7, 8 years old, and when they're passing, they get like 2 songs a week plus 2 workbook songs, and then they pass their songs. They're so excited.
Yeah.
And you play the duet with them. You've done this. You play the little duet on the piano, and it's, you know, Mary Had a Little Lamb, and they just are so proud and so excited.
That sense of accomplishment.
That accomplishment, it takes them to the next level. And that is something that you can't teach. You can't teach people to feel good about what they've done.
Well, it's inherent in the music.
Yes,
it's inherent in the music.
Right.
Music is... kind of magical in a way, in that it's a God-given thing. God created music, and you know, when people really enjoy what He's done, that lights them up. You know, and they get to see what an awesome. It's kind of like, you know, seeing God do a miracle. You know, and you can experience. It's not like nothing else. There's nothing else like that. I mean, you could be good at sports, but it's not the same.
No.
You know, you could be good at a lot of things. You could be good in school, but it's not the same. There's something about music that's really kind of majestic, that when somebody gets it, it's life transforming.
Well, and I like watching, like I'll watch you guys teach, you know, and I listen as you guys, and you listen as I teach, I guess, as well. But I was listening to Josh teach a student the other day, and he doesn't ever really just give them the answer. They start and that's what
he's the great quizzer.
I know, and that takes, first of all, it takes a lot of patience.
Oh yeah.
Because sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, I have told you what a quarter note is 150 times. Why don't you know after 3 years? No, it's hopefully not that long.
No, but I think some students feel that way too, because it would be a lot easier for me to just tell them.
And that's it. But you don't tell them.
Yeah.
You ask and that's what makes a good teacher.
Yes.
You keep asking those questions, and then you get them to figure it out.
You have to think on your own.
Yes.
It doesn't do you any good to just vomit back what somebody's taught you or showed you.
Well,
that's not going to be as good.
My thing is that I'm going to always be doing that.
Yes.
The rest of your career as a musician, I'm going to constantly be giving you the answer here. Because you're never figuring it out.
It's the old sight reading the music or memorizing.
That's
right. There you go.
Because a lot of people want to memorize. You got 17 pieces of sheet music. There are 17 sheets, and they want to memorize the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because they can't read it.
Right.
Wouldn't it be better to be able to read it and just play it?
Right. Yeah. And there's something in the head that it's like you think, well, that's just going to take too long. You know?
Right.
Yes. It's actually longer to do it the memorizing way.
Yes.
Yeah. Than to just, take the time to really figure it out and make yourself read it. But that's the figuring it out is the most important thing, because when you really do give yourself the time to figure it out, whether it's I'm stuck on the name of this note, or how many beats you're supposed to get, or bigger concepts like how I'm supposed to finger this, or things like that.
6-8 times.
Yeah,
they're killing us.
And so it's things like that. But when you take the time and figure it out, and you do, and you succeed, there is that sense of accomplishment that you get, and then you don't forget that.
No,
it ends up sticking with you, which then pays off later on. That's the thing. To me, the excitement about teaching comes with when you've built the machine and the machine starts running.
Yeah, yes. Exactly.
When I don't have to say anything, like I had
it's alive.
That's what it is.
That's it.
Well, I had a student this week who was probably that was a good.
Is that a Frankenstein
reference?
Like, oh my God.
Frankenstein.
Little brown stones.
Frankenstein. All right, Igor.
That's funny.
Walk this way. Yeah. So anyway, I had a student probably the shining moment of the week this week is I had a student that finally passed. He finally played this song that he's been working on for a while. He played the song pretty much perfectly. I mean, it was
in Hawaii. I'm sorry.
That's it. Well, I mean, and you could. That's it. I know, now everybody knows who we're talking.
Yeah. Well, I hope.
It's all right. No, he did good. We'll give him his props. But that was the thing is, I mean, he was pretty close to perfect. What was so funny to me is he finally played it. In my mind, I was freaking out when he finally got it, And then he finished, and I heard him before I even started talking. He started analyzing. And he was like, this is, well, I did better that time, but this, I need to fix the embouchure on this, note, and this one needs to come out clean. And, but he had been doing that the whole lesson.
Right.
So it was to me, the accomplishment wasn't playing the song correctly. It was the fact that he was able to assess himself.
See his mistakes.
Yes.
See his mistakes, and then correct them. That was the whole thing. It's he was catching stuff and then fixing it. And then I had reached a point. We had been at it over and over, and I was I didn't want to burn him out. So I was kind of I had reached a point where I was you know what, I think we're starting to get burned out. We got about 5 minutes left. Let's just stop. We'll work on it again next week. He did not want to stop. He was no, I got this. And he just kept, and I was all right, keep going. And then when he finally nailed it like that, it was huge. And
but that's such a big, because the student feels that sense of accomplishment, and they know that they put in the work and that they've done it, and you can't buy that. You can't buy that.
It's
feeling.
A funny thing that a lot of people have the impression or idea that music should always be fun, and that if somebody's criticizing what you're doing, that makes it not fun. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it can be a little bit of a load when somebody criticizes what you're doing. But, first of all, you shouldn't be that fragile. because you're going to get criticized in life for everything you do.
You have to learn how to take criticism, no matter who you are. But
that's part of the music process. Is one of the purposes of the teacher is to point out the things that you did wrong, so that you could see them as the student,
right,
and then not do those things.
And then the idea is to be able to notice that in your practice time,
right?
So you can fix it before you come to your lesson.
So
even
we're critical, but then we're teaching them how to be self-critical,
right.
So that they could spot that stuff in the practice time. And then they can correct it. Then when they come to their next lesson, it's just nothing but praise.
And that's what I'm talking about. Then it's like the machine just keeps running now.
Yeah.
Because now they're in the cycle, and now they're hooked, and now they've got a really good thing going on here that's going to continue to reap more and more rewards.
Well, and that's what's been great. Several of my voice students, one voice student in particular, goes and watches live music a lot of times throughout, not just Pensacola, but throughout the region. And now this student is starting to notice how other singers could improve.
Yes.
He thought, everybody was great. And now he's realizing they aren't so great.
Well,
and
don't you notice that, when you learn guitar, Josh, that all of a sudden you're hearing songs with guitars in it, and you're like, that's all you hear.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And you're hearing the mistakes. Like, I remember, I'll never forget. I'm a big Led Zeppelin fan, and then I started listening to Jimmy Page playing the guitar, and I thought, a lot of that stuff is really sloppy, man.
He's not wrong. I mean, look, there was.
I love that guy's playing.
100%.
Don't get me wrong.
And no, not throwing shade or anything like that.
No.
Before all the Led Zeppelin, before the lead heads start jumping on Twitter. Just calm it down. I see you on the phone right now. Calm it down.
Put the phone down.
Dial it back.
We still love Led Zeppelin.
We love them. Iconic.
Okay.
But I was, what kind of hit me. It was a process, kind of coming to that realization. But Since I've Been Loving You.
Yes.
One of the best songs, right?
Oh, awesome.
I mean, blues, rock.
Man.
I mean, you can't. Yeah, it's so many. Check so many boxes. If you don't know what we're talking about, you owe it to yourself to go listen to it at least
Led Zeppelin
once.
3.
Yes, Led Zeppelin 3. Listen to it once, twice, or maybe 500 times, like we all have.
Yes.
Her against her will.
Yes. Handcuffed to the chair.
Yeah. Many car rides. Anyway, and he never liked his recording, and the song is like 6 minutes long or something like that. It's a long song.
Really long.
And that was the thing, is like they reached a certain point.
I enjoyed every minute of it.
Well, they reached a certain point where they couldn't keep doing the takes. It was like, look, it's good enough.
Yeah.
Leave it alone. It's fine.
Yeah.
And he never liked the official version of it that's out there. He never liked it. And of course, that's what I learned. And the transcription that I learned is the note for note.
Yeah.
And I know how to play note for note. And we've taught many people that.
Yes.
Note for note, that solo. But when I remember finding that out and seeing the interview and being like, that just kind of floored me, because I'm like, it's so amazing. And it's like, what in the world? And then as I started to study his playing more and learn more and more of his songs and stuff, I started hearing it, and I started hearing some of the mistakes, right? Because we wouldn't, if you don't know, you wouldn't consider
some
that
of those
a mistake.
Notes get jumbled together.
They do. They get jumbled together. He played some open strings here and there that I'm sure that he didn't mean to do. Yeah. There's definitely some dissonant
but
notes.
But when you hear that song, you're so captivated by it that initially, or even for a lot of lessons, you're not even going to hear it.
Because it definitely takes you on a journey.
I watched him in concert twice, man, and he was like playing the guitar with a Jack Daniels bottle.
Oh, goodness gracious.
He had a bow in one hand and a Jack Daniels bottle in the other, and I was like, wow, what planet is this guy from?
Oh, my goodness.
That's it, with the dragon pants.
Yeah. he was a huge influence, those guys in my life. I mean, truly, John Bonham, man. That's like my main motivation for playing the drums, or at least developing my right foot,
Oh, yeah.
Because he was so phenomenal.
Well, the triplets, too, the triplets against straight eighth groove,
Yeah.
And that was a big thing for me.
What's his name?
Carmine.
No. The eighth notes against the triplets.
Purdy?
Little Richard.
Yeah.
He started that. if you ask him.
Really?
Yes, he's the one who said he was the first one to do that,
But
which might be true.
Yeah, it's entirely possible.
It's a very interesting concept, though.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. That's interesting. How about that?
So let's turn our attention to Joshua now.
Okay. Well, here let's use that as a good place for us to take a quick break while I think.
Can I get a water or no?
No. Okay, that was a quick break.
That was a quick break.
All right.
All right, good. So, all right.
Did you think?
No.
I know, but I wanted to say, can I say something real quick about Robert Plant?
Yes.
Because I never get to talk about Robert Plant.
For sure.
I will say that I did talk to one of my students
That's
about
dynamite hair. I'm just kidding.
It's Pantene.
About how a lot of these old rockers, they still want to keep going at the same level they were at 30 years ago. Right. Mm-hmm. So this one of my students pointed out to me that Robert Plant has the wisdom to key everything down so he can still sing it.
That's true.
And he even has told people, I can't sing that like I did anymore. Because it's just the facts. And it's not that he's a bad singer, that anything's happened.
All that passion was not necessarily good for your vocal health.
Right. But he did a lot of, he actually, I don't really like his voice, I'll be honest.
I remember you saying,
oh no,
I hate that.
All right, let heads go at it.
I'm sorry. But I do respect him, and I do think that he sings well, and he supports, and he does a lot of good things vocally. He opens his mouth. Hello, folks.
Yeah.
And
not to mention he's wickedly creative.
He is very creative, and he has the wisdom now to key stuff down and not injure himself trying to sing things that he sang 40 years ago. So it was kind of, anyway, that's it. Okay, on to Joshua.
Well,
Sorry.
I was watching a video the other day, and Bonham's kid on Instagram put up a video of
Jason Bonham,
a guitar player and a mandolin player.
Oh, okay.
And Paige sitting out in the meadow. Three different screens. And
cool.
They did that over the hills and far away.
Ah, cool.
And it was stunning.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll bet.
And he was like really digging the music. Hey, these guys are pretty good, you know.
Yeah.
And then he started singing, and first the mandolinist was singing, and then he stopped and Plant took over.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was captivating, cool. Man. He's still got it. He's still got after all these years.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for him.
That's
I do.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very cool.
Very good.
You know, when I was in college, I had a wall-sized Led Zeppelin poster.
Oh, yes.
Oh, man.
It was like 12 by 12.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah, and when you walked in the apartment, man, it just covered the whole wall. It was like wallpapered in Led Zeppelin.
That's awesome. Yeah.
A little bit of effect they had on me.
Yeah, it's cool. That's cool. Yeah,
all right, so let's get to you. What
about me?
What makes you...
get up every morning.
Yeah, I mean,
I like to read the daily news.
What was the thing that made you want to be a music teacher?
What was the thing that made me want to be a music
keeps
teacher?
making you want to be a music teacher?
Yeah.
It's like, you shouldn't have asked me this question last week.
Yeah, I know, right? Exactly. I don't know. It changes. I think it changes from time to time. You know, I don't know. I think that to a certain degree, you can't really turn it off. Like,
that's right.
Well, that's a good point.
True.
You know,
yes.
I really like to learn new things, and I think that every week I'm learning new things.
Yes.
You know, even
lifelong
if it's
learner.
Yeah, even if it's little stuff, it's stuff I'm learning, and then it's like in my head it kind of goes, dang, hey, you just learned something, you know, like think about that, you know, and you know, and then I remember
you
it.
actually hear the ding?
Yeah, I do. That's what happens. Yeah, ding. Hey, did everybody hear that?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, it was like, no, just the bells in your head. So. But yeah, I mean that's the thing, and so then because I like learning so much now, I like sharing that now as with other people, and you know, whether it's kids or adults or whatever, you know, and so you know, I think that was something that, you know, I kind of figured out way early on, you know, as a kid, it's probably why I didn't have a whole lot of friends.
It's that guy with the ding in his head.
Keeps sharing random facts all the time.
Know,
like, yeah. No, but
trivia.
Yeah, that's it. But I mean, I think that to a certain extent, there was a bit of like you guys are both being music teachers, running the music business, and then being a part of that, was kind of natural. Just kind of naturally came about that here's the family business, and you started showing me how to teach, and And then little by little, well, hey, this is a way that you can make money, Okay, that's great. So then we start teaching, to make money. And I think that's kind of how it started initially. But then I think it's the thing when you see it goes back to the light bulb moment, like you were talking about. I think that kind of is the thing because you work really hard, like you have to, like in order to get good results, from your students or, even from yourself, you have to work really hard at it, and you gotta come at it from different angles. Sometimes you're explaining something and you can tell they're not getting it, and it's and it's not even their fault. It's that for some reason the way you're explaining it just doesn't make sense to them.
Well, that's why I like to come up with a whole bunch of different angles to explain something.
Well, you have some
one
of the
those,
greatest analogies.
Yeah, one of those is going to hit home.
Right. Well, and that's and once again, that was something I remember having a student and being frustrated, and I was like 16, like 15, 16, and I was like, I finished the lesson, and I said to you, I don't understand. I'm telling them this because this was the way I was taught, or the way it was explained to me, and they are not getting it. And I don't know what's wrong with them not getting it. And you were like, if they're not getting it, you got to quit saying the same thing over and over again.
Right,
they're not getting it. Yeah. So then it was like, you got to come at it from these different angles. So it's almost like that's the challenge to me. It's like a puzzle. Like, okay, they're not getting it. Now I got to figure out how to make them again. And then when it finally happens and they do get it, then it's exciting. And that feels good.
Exciting.
And it's, and so then, but I mean, to me, that's one of the biggest joys then is when it continues, when that excitement that I have for learning, when that rubs off, and you see them starting to pick it up now and run with it. Those are the exciting moments, and I don't know, you don't see that all the time.
No,
and so don't. That's not really.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be called work if that was the case.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's what happens is you get up every day,
wanting
and
those
you set out there
yes.
shooting for that.
Yes.
And you don't get it, and then you do. Like, that's the thing. Like, you get up and you grind it out and you put that work in, and you don't see that result that day, but then you might see it the next day. Or you might get it a week from now, and then it's like, then this was all worth it then. Whatever that point was that we were trying to get, and you finally got it, now it was worth it. We did it,
What I think our students don't always know is that we think about them throughout the week.
Oh, yeah.
And we think about, okay, this student, I have a student now that is so tense with her mouth when she's singing, and she's not tense normally, and then she sings and it just gets, and so I'm thinking all week, literally, what exercises can I give her? How can I get her? Because to tell her just relax isn't going to work.
Right.
There has to be something that she can do to build that relaxation, and we do spend time thinking about it and researching things, and what is something I can do to help this student. And then when they get it, you just like, and it's really
makes you want to clink your rings on the glass.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Sorry.
It just keeps happening, and so I'm like, now I'm hearing bells again.
There you go.
Well, talking about all this stuff, I think about how fortunate we are that we're a musical family. And I think back to when I met you and I found out you were into music, and I was, of course, a drummer.
And we were so different,
yeah,
but that was okay.
mean, you were like a classically trained opera singer, and I was like a rock and roller, man.
Yeah.
Metalhead, a rock and roll drummer.
That Hall & Oates, Pure Prairie League.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, stuff is like, do you have to put that stuff on? But I got a guitar, and one day you encouraged me to learn how to play it, and you provided the theory to help me to be able to figure it out and teach myself, which was an incredible thing. You know, and the purpose was that you and I would be able to do something musically together. So, you know, we bought a drum machine, and I played the guitar, and you sang, and we did that for, I don't know, 12 or more years in the nursing homes.
Yeah, 12 years.
And then when Josh was born, he wasn't very old before we brought him into that, and
Yes.
he was exposed to, okay, we got, you know, music at home and then music on Saturdays in the nursing homes, and so then he wanted to be a part of it, you know. And I remember back to the videos we have of Josh and Caroline playing those drum sets in the living room. So, you know.
Well, and it's funny because I watched the video this morning, and it was all about these young musicians, you know, and the guy who was doing the video was all like, we need to support these young musicians, so that's why he was highlighting them, you know. And I was watching them play, and that was the thing across the board that you could see. It was just super obvious to me. Was passion for what they were doing. I mean, it was all over the place. It was in what they were playing. It was in their face. It was in their movement. And I was like, I really connect with that, you know, because I feel that. I feel, you know, and I remember like those times. I remember one time that was a Father's Day gift that me and Caroline gave you as we put together a show, you know, and she danced and I played the drums, you know, and it was like just, you know, in those moments, just, you know, the joy of, you know,
the wonder of music.
Exactly, and that's
and that was the thing was for me, because that always took me back another generation, because my dad.
Oh yeah, was, your whole upbringing.
My whole upbringing. My dad was very passionate about music, and so to share that, and then he was so supportive of me musically.
Yes.
I mean, you know, we were talking about it the other day. You know, I did shows. He came to every performance. He would get there early and hang mics on the stage and record on a reel-to-reel. Look it up. Google it. And record things. And I mean, it was. And then my dad, I hate to say it, was just like me. He would never really say, "Well, that was awesome." He'd be like, "Well, listen to this back. You know, let's go through it. You know, you kind of were flat on that note, and this, but you know." And then he would give his complete critique. I mean, think about when you did your first CD. You sent it to my dad, and he wrote like 5 pages, detailed every song and the good things and the things that, I mean, but that was that passion. Yeah. And I feel like that, you know, was passed on.
Then, you know, it's a wonderful thing to have passion, but you know, as a musician, you have to develop discipline.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and that's one thing with you when you were a little kid, Josh, was we were homeschooling you. Mm-hmm. So, you know, there was a lot of ways people homeschool kids, but our way was to, like, you know, Dad, how do you spell this word? Look it up in the dictionary.
Yeah.
You know, not that I was lazy, but it worked good, because if you could know how to use the materials, you wouldn't need me to fill that in for you. You'd be able to function on your own to find the answer. So that discipline of learning how to teach yourself, that started at a very young age with you, and you did really well with it. You had a great job being homeschooled, and may have many wonderful accomplishments, you know, the homeschool band and all that stuff, and then on college and whatnot. But a lot of it was because you were taught the importance of having the self-discipline to be able to get the rewards.
Yeah, well, and then that's what I try to pass on to my students, you know, because I teach them the same way. It's the whole teaching a man to fish thing.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Now, because you can keep giving them fish, but that's not going to fix the problem. Right. And the problem is you need to be able to take care of yourself, you know. So it does. It takes self-discipline. It takes know-how, you know. And then the thing is, sometimes, you know, when people with the private lessons, when people want to take lessons, the passion is there. That's why they're taking lessons. That's why they're here. So you know, then it's just you want to feed that as much as possible, but you know, you get the results by having the self-discipline.
Right, you
to
want to
follow
cultivate
the steps.
that in them.
Yeah. And when they start to see that, that's when they can start to do it more on their own, because then it's like, okay, see, now I get the process. I had to remind a student of that this week. It was like, she was stuck in a rut, and I was like, are you doing the process?
Yeah.
You know?
Right. It's funny because sometimes they'll be like, man, it's not working for me.
That's it.
Well, did you practice? Well, not too much this week.
Yeah,
isn't that amazing?
Well, how about this? Did you use the metronome?
Yeah,
right. Well, and so many times too, it's the practice will happen, but it's not really good practice because they didn't follow the
mentally
process.
involved.
Right. So which is
yeah.
why we're there, because that's our job, right?
Yes.
Is to then remind them, nope, see, you got to get back to the process. Don't leave the process just because we're doing something different.
Yeah, we used to have these great coasters that I used to use all the time in my lessons. There was little rings going out from the center. The center was a dot, and then there was a little ring around that, then a bigger ring, and a bigger ring, and a bigger ring, all the way out to the edge of the coaster. Basically meant to capture all the condensation from your drink or whatever.
Oh, and I remember that.
I would use those all the time and say, this is you, and point to the middle dot. This is you with all your knowledge and skills and abilities about playing an instrument. Now, in order to get to the next ring, you have to be challenged.
That's awesome.
If you don't like being challenged and you don't want to do that, get used to being in that little dot.
You're
never going to get out of that unless you're challenged. And what good music lessons does is it challenges you ring by ring by ring by ring. And then when you get to the outside ring, look at all you've accomplished.
Yes.
All the skills you've gained.
That's
this is
great.
all now your territory.
Yeah.
And then you can really roll with it and enjoy it, But sometimes people get so hung up on, they don't want to practice or they don't want to do something that might be work.
It's hard.
It's uncomfortable. Anytime you challenge yourself, it's uncomfortable, and nobody likes how that feels.
And music lessons can be uncomfortable because you're being challenged by a good music teacher. If you're going to get better, that's what they do.
Yeah. But that's what we got to embrace that,
yes,
and not shy away from it, because that's where that misnomer starts to come in of the, well, if it's not fun, then and it's like, it's going to be fun, but sometimes
you have to get past
any kind of uncomfortable situation is not going to be fun until you get it comfortable, right? Until you get comfortable with it, then it starts to be fun again. So you're going to go through those hills and valleys.
I want to ask you: is school ever fun all the time?
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's a move, right?
I don't know, right? Yeah.
It's there's times where your teachers challenge you, and it's uncomfortable, and and
well, and I keep telling students, you really don't understand that you learn more from your mistakes than from your successes.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
When you make a mistake, you don't want to make that mistake again. Right, so then you learn. Now, I suppose there are people that don't learn from their mistakes. That's a problem. But when you make mistakes, you don't want to keep doing that mistake. So then you get through that. And then you have some successes, then you make another mistake.
That brings me to the point of impediments to learning. Like
what hinders us?
Going back to school.
Yes.
All of a sudden you're, in the summer, you're doing really good. You're gaining lots of progress. You're disciplined. You're working. You're using the metronome. You're counting. You understand what rests are. You understand what notes are. You understand what the technique is, and you're just zipping along. And then school starts. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, your whole world is imploded because now you've got
different routines.
Yeah, these projects and homework and all this stuff, and you have to do that. You have to find somewhere in the universe to put your lessons in that chaos. That is the beginning of school, and so it's a difficult thing, but students have to learn to do that, and adults also. I mean, not just kids. You have work, you have things that come up, and I didn't get a chance to sit down this week because this happened, that happened.
Life happens.
Yeah, and you got to be able to be disciplined enough to make that a part of your life. I always tell people it's not brain surgery. Nobody's going to die if you don't practice, but you will make much more gains if you do. If you follow what the instructor teaches you and you practice that, you put it into practice, you're going to make gains,
Absolutely.
And if you have, like our little rule of thumb, half-hour lesson, practice a half-hour a day, 6 days a week, If you don't do that, if you cut it down by a third, you just cut your learning down by a third.
Right.
Because that's what's going to happen. You're taking away the repetitions and the thought and the effort involved in understanding what you're doing. You're cutting that. So why would you expect to be able to do the same as if you provided those 2.5 hours worth of practice a week? So.
Yeah, there you
Well,
go.
and that's the biggest thing with stopping is like when you're in that zone and you're in that habit, you got the wheel rolling. Missing a day of practice is not going to stop the wheel. You know what I mean? It's not going to stop your.
It's not that detrimental.
It's not that detrimental. But if it becomes something that starts to happen on a continual basis, that's it. Then you start to slow down. The progress starts to wane a little bit. And then eventually it stops, and now you're not going anywhere.
Right.
So that's why we try to jump on that as quickly as we can. Hey, okay, you had a week where you didn't get it. That's fine. Shake it off. But get back into it the next week, because if you don't, then now you're gonna get stuck.
Yep.
Right. Yep. So get out there and practice.
Get out there and practice.
All right.
That's such an important concept that you have to do the repetitions. You have to mindfully do the repetitions to get the skills. And people mess up, and then they say, "I don't understand why I can't get this," and it's like your fault.
As the teacher. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I can't do this. Well, did you practice? No.
Yeah, did you follow the steps? We laid out the progress, the process. Did you follow the process?
Yeah.
And then, when the answer is no, then it's like, okay. I mean, it's one thing if you lay out the steps, you do everything, and then it didn't work. Then we have to sit there and go, okay, all right, there's something wrong in here. Something else is wrong. Something else is wrong, and we need to fix it. But, I mean, so many times that's what it comes down to is, well, did you practice every day? Well, no. And that, or, okay, you practiced every day, but did you use the metronome? Did you break it down?
Did you open the book?
Yeah.
I know.
I know.
People's definition of practice is like playing around with the
if you think
instrument.
Holding the instrument is practice, it's not. And that's kind of the thing is like, especially I think for some of our more advanced students, I start to see that happen a little bit because when you've gained a lot of skill, and especially to the point where you can just kind of sit down and you remember stuff and just play from memory and noodle and improvise and things like that, and that's all fun and great. There does tend to be this mindset of, well, I had the instrument in my hand, so I did practice.
And then think about voice. Think about singing.
Yeah.
People sing all the time, and I encourage everybody sing. But, that's not necessarily practicing. Just because you sang in the car for 10 minutes, 20, 30 minutes, some an hour on the way to work doesn't mean you were practicing. You weren't mindfully thinking about your breathing. You weren't mindfully thinking about relaxing your mouth and opening your mouth or tongue being flat or whatever. You're just singing. That doesn't, it's good. You should sing. But it's not practice.
This would be good. This would be good for another episode where we do what are the good elements of good practice.
Next time.
It reminds me of working out and you lose your breath.
Oh yeah.
So like the reason you're getting lightheaded and losing your breath is you're not getting oxygen. So there was this one guy I saw on the internet that said, like, here's something that I do in yoga. It's like I breathe in through my nose to a count of 5. I hold my breath to a count of 5. And I exhale through my mouth to a count of 5. Okay. And if you try that and you do that, man, it's magic. I mean, all of a sudden you get the oxygen. When you're breathing so hard and all that, you're not getting oxygen. You're just taking the carbon dioxide and putting it up and down in your mouth, in your throat.
Oh, that makes sense.
And it's really amazing. That's cool. It's proper breathing, proper technique and self-control.
There you go. Being mindful of what you're doing, not just doing it. Yes.
Good.
Well,
this was good, I think, right? Yes.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was good. I'm like, we always analyze ourselves too, so... Yes. Yeah, well, I hope that you guys got something out of that. It seemed like we touched on a lot of important points, and, we'll continue to do that, continue to provide quality content for our listeners. And if you are listening to us and have been listening to us, we really thank you very much for your time and for subscribing. If this is your first time, hit that subscribe button. Yes, if you're watching this on YouTube, give us a like, give us some good comment, give us some feedback too. Let us know what you think.
What do you want
if you
us
have
to talk
questions,
about? Absolutely.
What do you want to hear on the next episode of Coffee with the Kays? Music in the intro and in the outro is provided by Ron Kaye on his album Kaystruction. Be sure to check that out everywhere you stream your music. And you can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, pretty much everywhere that there are podcasts. Deezer. I believe we're on Amazon now.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're on Amazon Music as well, so you can check us out there, anywhere you get your podcasts. All right, so thank you very much. We will talk to you next time on Coffee with the Kays.